Thank you very much, Sir John, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. And I want to start by thanking the Right Honourable Gentleman, the Member for Westmoreland and Lonsdale, for bringing this important debate to Parliament on World Cancer Day, and to the other members for the contributions that they made, the interventions that they made on this really important topic. I would, of course, be pleased to meet with the Honourable Member for Westmoreland and Lonsdale and his colleagues from the All-Party Parliamentary Group on Radiotherapy to discuss these issues further. I suspect that my diary is going to get busier. I would be more than happy to meet with his honourable friend as well, and indeed ensure that we get this aspect of the National Cancer Plan absolutely right. And Sir John, to answer one of the questions put by the Shadow Minister, of course the National Cancer Plan will include radiotherapy. It would be odd if it didn't do, given the importance of radiotherapy going forwards. And yes, of course, I will work with Radiotherapy UK and others with an interest in this area. That's part of the reason why we've launched our call for evidence today, so that we can get the views and the opinions of as many people and as of many organisations as it's possible to do, so that we get this plan right. Because it doesn't just have to be fit for 2025, Sir John. It has to be fit for 2035 and the years in between as well. So there's a lot of work to be done. Now, we know that cancer patients are waiting too long for treatment. That's why we are taking immediate actions to kickstart recovery of the NHS with a commitment to cut waiting times, which will benefit all, including those with cancer. And of course, we are committed in our 10-year plan for the NHS to return our National Health Service to constitutional standards, and that includes on cancer too. Now, Sir John, by investing in our workforce, a point that has been made by several honourable members, and allocating £70 million for new radiotherapy machines, we will reduce cancer waiting times, and we will give more patients access to state-of-the-art treatments. Fixing the NHS also requires reform. This year, we will publish the 10-year health plan to help build a health service fit for the future. And as I've already mentioned, we are today announcing the launch of a call for evidence for a dedicated national cancer plan. This plan is another step forwards towards unleashing our country's potential as a world leader in saving lives from this deadly disease. And I encourage everyone to have their say by responding to the National Cancer Plan's call for evidence. Now, Sir John, I wish to assure honourable members that it is the priority of this government to ensure radiotherapy is available quickly to those who need it. Radiotherapy is a crucial treatment for many cancer patients, as it can shrink tumours very effectively. And whilst the vast majority of the population are located within reasonable distance of where they would go for treatment, I am very aware that particularly in rural communities, that is not the case. And Sir John, I can give a family example of that, because my dad, who sadly died 2 years ago from a very rare and aggressive form of rectal cancer, he benefited from superb treatment from the Christie in Manchester, which is our local cancer hospital. And he had chemotherapy, he had immunotherapy, and he had radiotherapy. And that radiotherapy shrunk his tumours that almost certainly gave him 2 years of extra quality life with his family, with his great-grandson, and I will be forever grateful for him receiving that. But one day we took him to the Christie and he got chatting to somebody who was also receiving radiotherapy. And it's pertinent to the honourable lady who leads on these matters for the Liberal Democrats, because this person was from Shropshire. And my dad is Salopian born. He was born in Shrewsbury. He was brought up in High Arkle before being dragged to Manchester in the 1950s when my granddad got a job as the chief accountant at Manchester Education Committee. And he got talking. And he was, "You're really from Shropshire and you're coming to Manchester for radiotherapy?" And it was the nearest place that had that treatment available at that time. And it really hit me then just how sporadic these things are and how some people have to travel, I think, unacceptable long distances. So we need to make sure that in our National Cancer Plan we look at the deserts and we look at the accessibility issues. I am aware, I will give way.
I'm going to do my job not at all well if I didn't pursue him. He very kindly earlier on talked about giving us the meeting with the all-party group to talk about the national picture. Just want to press him on our bid locally to tackle the problem he's just spoken about. So would he meet with me and local oncologists to talk about how we deliver a radiotherapy satellite centre in Kendal?
Well, I was just coming to that, Sir John, so he obviously started to read my notes from a distance, because I am aware that the honourable gentleman met with the previous government to discuss a possibility of having a satellite unit in his local area. The situation does remain the same now as it did then, that this is the responsibility of the Integrated Care Board. But look, if he thinks it would be helpful for us to have a meeting and to see if we can push the case, my door is open to that, because, you know, I absolutely recognise the preference that people in that part of Cumbria would have to have those services closer to where they live. And if we can impress that on his local ICB, let's see if we can make progress. The government aims to ensure that each treatment centre is accessible to the highest number of patients possible, as well as being easily reached by the staff who work there, because that's another consideration, that it's not just the patients, it's the staff that have to physically get to these units. So we recognise that for those in rural communities, machinery may not be available at their local hospital, meaning travel to specialist centres to receive the best possible care is the only option. Radiotherapy service provision is agreed by local systems, and each patient's care needs and treatment location are decided on a case-by-case basis and by their clinicians. We are giving greater flexibility and control to local systems, as they are best placed to understand and meet the needs of their communities. But driving forwards the National Cancer Plan, we have to really tackle this postcode lottery and the deserts head on. On workforce, Sir John, access is also about making sure we have the right workforce available to deliver the treatment in the right places and at the right time. That's why the number of training places has increased, and we are improving the quality of education for assistant practitioners, diagnostics and for therapeutic radiographers. NHS England is also working to improve the retention of radiographers and radiologists through initiatives such as increasing investment in career development. By ensuring our workforce feels supported, we put ourselves in a better position to deliver the care that people need. Turning to investment in machines, I would agree with the honourable gentleman that we should be ambitious in our plans to ensure patients are treated as quickly as possible. Lord Darcy's report highlighted the scale of the challenge we face. Under the previous government, waiting times for treatment increased, and more than 30% of patients waited longer than 31 days for radical radiotherapy. In response to Lord Darcy's findings, we have taken urgent action to get the NHS back on its feet again. At the recent budget, my right honourable friend, the Chancellor, supported our commitment to end the backlogs by announcing £70 million worth of investment in new radiotherapy machines in 2025-2026. Replacing older radiotherapy machines with newer, more efficient and more technically advanced ones will ensure patients can be seen more quickly. By doing so, we will improve access and speed up cancer treatment. Making more advanced machines available means patients will have fewer trips to receive their treatment. Now, honourable members may be aware that NHS England has now allocated funding to trusts across the country to purchase the new radiotherapy machines with this £70 million of investment. NHS England invited trusts to express interest in receiving funding to purchase a new machine. Allocation criteria focused on the age of the machine being replaced, the proportion of older machines in use within the trust, and the trust's performance on radiotherapy. We expect to fund at least 27 new machines, which should be available to treat patients by spring 2026. Sir John, these steps will ensure we can improve cancer waiting times as soon as possible, helping us put an end to the last government's neglect and underinvestment. And I want to reassure him and other members that we will continue to make the case for additional funding so that we can continue to upgrade machines and we can continue to push the advances of latest technological developments for the benefit of patients with cancer. Turning to the National Cancer Plan, beyond immediate actions, we know that bold reform is required to rise to the growing challenge that cancers of all types represent. Lord Darcy found that cancer survival in this country is worse than in comparable countries, with improvements slowing greatly during the 2010s. To help us to develop more targeted actions, my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, has announced the development of a national cancer plan, the subject of the statement I gave in the House just a few hours ago. The overarching aim of this plan is to reduce lives lost to cancer. It will detail how we will improve outcomes for cancer patients, ensuring patients have access to the most effective treatments and technology, including radiotherapy. Today, we've launched our National Cancer Plan Call for Evidence. We welcome views from all honourable and right honourable members, as well as from clinicians, patients and their families. I think it's critical, Sir John, that we get the views of the people who have lived experience of accessing cancer care. Charities, researchers, members of the public, and of course, the excellent APPGs champion cancer treatment and outcomes in this House. So, in closing, I'd like to thank the honourable gentleman, the member for Westmoreland and Lonsdale, once again, for bringing this crucially important matter to the House. I thank honourable members whose contributions in the spirit of this year's World Cancer Day have put places and people at the centre of care. And I'm pleased to assure the honourable members that have spoken today that we are undertaking both immediate actions and bold reforms to improve access to radiotherapy. There's a lot more we need to do, and we will do it in partnership. This work as part of our effort to rebuild the NHS and deliver world-class cancer services for everybody, something which will always be a top priority for this government, and it's personal for me. So let's go on and achieve it.
Thank you, Minister.